Hey, this is Jack Kelly with WeCruitr Podcast, and today I want to talk about a pretty serious topic. Well, I don't want to say it's too serious because I don't want to scare you off from listening and freak you out. So no, it's not that serious. It's kind of serious, but not completely serious, sort of serious. Now, I don't know. Should we start the podcast over again? Because that now, I think I lost everybody. But all right, I digress. So what I want to talk about today is this trend that I'm noticing that is frankly kind of frightening. Over the last, let's say, several months, I've easily spoken to, 100 different people and corresponding via email, text with twice that amount. And it's become clearly obvious that there's a trend in the job market that is gaining a lot of traction, and it's not a good trend. What I'm noticing is that if you're kind of in the mid to late 30s, 40s, and older, this market is not so great. You turn on the TV, you watch cable news, you look at the newspapers, and everything is saying this is the best market ever. Great economy, full employment, record low unemployment. This is fantastic. This is wonderful. And that's the narrative, and you really don't hear otherwise. So it's very jarring and very disconcerting when I speak to people on a regular basis who are, and just to frame it, these are people who are college educated. A lot of them have advanced degrees, whether MBAs or JDs or master degrees. They're white collar professionals working at top companies, very well respected organizations. And what's happening, and this can't be a coincidence when you start seeing large numbers of this. Either A, they're deathly afraid of losing their job, or B, they've already kind of lost their job. They've been downsized, they've been laid off, axed, however you want to call it, and the prospects seem dim for these folks. And when I say dim, I mean, here's what happened, almost like to a person. This is the same story. Hey, Jack, I was downsized. I was been with the company for X amount of years. I've been, 10, 15, 20 years doing what I've been doing. And in the past, I was always able to get jobs. There was always needs. I would have tons of recruiters calling me. I'd have HR people reaching out. I'd have my contacts would constantly putting me in touch with firms, and it was pretty straightforward. Sometimes easier than not, sometimes a little challenging, but hey, it was always, I felt I could find something. Now they're saying it's different. It's different. They don't hear anything. They'll go online, fill out these, long applications that are glitchy, that crash, goes into the black hole space, nothing. Send resume, nothing. Send more resumes, nothing. Tap into their network. After a while, their network doesn't want to get back to them. After a while, they feel uncomfortable, keep going back to the same people because they just don't have leads for them. So what ends up happening, these people feel really just like a punch in the gut. What happened? How did I go from really being in desire, where people wanted me, I had job offers, I had leads for jobs, I had opportunities, now nothing. Then it's easy for these people to kind of start freaking out. Well, let me tell you what I think is happening. Try to put the pieces of the puzzle together. I've definitely noticed a certain amount of trends that are coinciding together that makes it really toxic for people in their mid to late 30s, 40s, 50s, and higher, particularly those who are earning a certain amount of money, who've achieved some success in their career, they're doing well financially, they're making a nice salary, they're getting bonuses, maybe stock options and other things. So the trend is this. One is something called juniorization. Now, I don't know if that's a term or not. I'm just going to pretend that I made this up, so we'll run with it, and I'll take credit for it. But if someone else says, hey, I made it up, that's all right. I'll say, sure, sorry. So juniorization, as I see it, is this. Companies in cost-saving measures are saying, hey, do I hire, this person who has 10, 15, 20 years of experience, making $150,000 plus bonus, maybe even $200,000 from bonus, or do I relocate this job to a lower cost city in the U.S. or to a completely different country and then just pay a fraction. So let's say instead of the person who's making a certain amount of money being a certain age in New York, let's put it to Jacksonville, Florida. Let's put it in Salt Lake City. Let's put it in a suburb of Dallas. Let's put it in India, in Poland, in Ireland, wherever. And then it's even less money in these other countries. So there becomes this cost balance equation where the company's executives say, hey, listen, if we keep these people in New York, what'll happen, we have to pay a whole heck of a lot of money for them. But if we put them into the other locations, then we don't. We could save a lot. So to them, it's a no-brainer. Hey, we'll save a fortune of money by putting them in these other locations. The unfortunate part is they don't care about the individuals. It's cold, it's savage, it's brutal. Because to them, they're not people. It doesn't matter. It's just that they look at it and say, hey, if I could save, because it's a numbers game. Because picture this, if you're, a big Wall Street bank and you have 100, 200, people who are earning a certain amount of money with a certain amount of experience, and you could put them in a different country or in a low-cost, city, you're saving, millions of dollars. And guess what happens? If they save millions of dollars, what do you think the executive's going to do? They're going to brag how they save so much money, and their bonuses are going to go up. So they're going to be okay until they come after that person. But for now, they're doing well, and everybody else is really getting the short end of the stick. So you have this juniorization. Now, it wouldn't be bad if that was it, right? If it was just juniorization, that wouldn't be so terrible. The other thing is just culling out mid-management. Another trend is this. Rather, most firms have, senior level executives, you have the workers, and you have this kind of middle management group. It's become really convenient for these companies to just carve that out. So you get rid of these middle managers who are making also a nice salary, get rid of them, and now you have the more junior people who are reporting up a couple of levels. On top of that, we have a third trend is technology and artificial intelligence. Take a look around your company. I would bet you see there's a big movement to implement all sorts of new technologies, software, artificial intelligence. Now, they're not going to admit it at first, but really the game plan is if we deploy this and spend the money for this technology, what's going to end up happening is that certain jobs aren't going to be needed, particularly jobs that are fairly rote, that could be, handled by this technology, and you're out. The other last trend, which I kind of touched upon, is globalization. So now it's easier for them to move to deploy technology and then put people in other locations. So everything is kind of, put together in this stew so that it makes it for these people who are of a certain age and making a certain amount of money in a really bad situation. Now, if it was only one company doing it, so what? If it was two companies doing it, all right, whatever. But if you have in your niche, let's say it's, Wall Street, banking, if all these companies are doing it at the same time, what happens? You're screwed. Because then you can't go across the street to another company and say, hey, all right, I'm here for this job, because they're doing the same damn thing. So you find yourself like, what do I do? How do I get out of this? And this is where a lot of people are finding themselves. They find themselves that they've been working their butts off since college, even before then, working summer jobs, doing everything they're supposed to be doing, playing the game, following the rules, doing what everyone told them they should do. And then all of a sudden the rug is pulled out from under them. And then they have this fear of what to do next. And the scary thing is this. This is going to sound weird, but you know what? Hey, in the past, the lifespans of people, 65, 70 maybe. Now, how often do you read about somebody who's, 90 plus, who's 100? We live way longer. So now if you're 45, 50, 50-ish, and all of a sudden you're out of work, you send resumes, you don't hear back, you call your contacts, they're kind of tired of hearing from you, they don't get back to you. You fill out more applications, you don't hear back. You start wondering, what am I going to do? My kids are in college, I'm paying tuitions, I got to save for my retirement, I have to make sure we have enough money to last. And then you don't know. So the problem now happens is that mentally and emotionally, it impacts people. And you can't blame them. How can it not bother you when you start worrying, how am I going to make a living? What am I going to do with my career? And it's like a 1-2 punch, because now that you're really worried what's going to happen, when you interview, think what's going to happen. If you interview and you're very confident, right? You have a job, you're doing well, you know you're loved, you know there's a lot of opportunities, you can go into that interview feeling strong, feeling confident. And then the hiring manager and everybody else feels, wow, I like this person. You know, they're smart, they're capable, they have the experience, they're motivated, they're confident. Yeah, let's hire this person. But now, when someone goes to an interview and feels, oh my gosh, I might not ever get a job again. What's going on? Why am I not hearing back? Is there a black cloud over my head? Are people bad-mouthing me? Did I do something wrong? So how do you think that person's going to come in an interview? They're going to come across, not so great, because they have this weight around their shoulders that's dragging them down. So then they interview, and when they get a chance to interview, they don't do so great because they're wrestling with all these demons. So listen, I'm going to be frank, I don't have an answer right now. I'd love to have, in these podcasts and say, okay, here's what you do, and wrap it up in a bow, right? And make it easier. Here's what you do. And I could wrap it up and say, hey, just keep going out there and keep interviewing and keep meeting people and sending resumes, and they're all true. But I think what's more important for this podcast, if you're going through this, what's really important is to recognize, number one, you are not alone. This is not just you. And what happens in our society, because everybody likes to brag about how successful they are, how great they're doing, that if you're not doing well, particularly in the context of an environment where you can't get away from, it's a hot job market, it's great, then you think there's something wrong with you. And what do? You kind of pull back. You instead of going out and networking, you're kind of staying in your house because you just don't want to talk about this with people. So if I can impart one thing, hey, for your own mental well-being right now, to keep it in mind, this is a systemic problem. Now, it's an issue, but in my experience, I've been recruiting this for 25 years. The pendulum swings wildly both ways, and it changes dramatically. This is a temporary thing, I believe. That'll change again. Doesn't make it better, but for you to understand that it's not you. So if your spouse is looking at you funny, your friends, your family, this gives you at least a little ammunition to say, hey, this is what's really going on. This is what's happening. It's not just me. You don't have to worry that you pissed off the wrong people. You said the wrong things. You're being blackballed. It's just, unfortunately, this quirky way that hiring is going on now. And unfortunately, nobody talks about this in the press. The narrative is always great, 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 but a lot of people are suffering. So have faith that it's not just you. It's a systemic thing, but these things change. And then I know I kind of poo-pooed it before, but you know what? It does. You just, by knowing that you haven't done anything wrong, it's just kind of the way things are rigged against you right now. But keep kind of moving forward. Keep trying, because I have also spoken to a lot of people who it may have taken a little longer than it has in the past, a little more aggravation, a little bit more heartache than it has in the past, but they are able to find things. So don't let this if you're in this situation, don't let this get you down, or don't let it get you down that much. Keep plugging away. Don't take it personal. You're not in it alone. There are plenty of people who are going through this. And if you ever need to talk, or you want someone just to kind of, brainstorm with, feel free to contact me directly. And you can reach me at 212-997-5061, or you can email me at jack@WeCruitr.com, or hit me up on LinkedIn or Twitter, because I do recognize this is a serious problem. It's a serious issue, and it really causes a lot of stress in people. And part of what I'm doing with the podcast, with starting WeCruitr, and a lot of in the writing I do for Forbes, is to deal with these kind of issues that are being ignored. So I hope, that given the seriousness of this, that this helps you and makes you feel at least that it's not you, and that this is kind of a thing, and that you can get past it. So good luck. Keep me posted. Let me know. I'd be glad to help any way I can. So thank you very much for listening, and I will speak to you soon.